We are joined by Lindenwood women's basketball head coach Tony Francis. Coach, you guys lost 74-58 to Central Oklahoma, who was ranked 20th at the time. Now they're ranked 16th in the polls. Can you just kind of recap that and how you guys will bounce back?
I thought, I've watched that game film a couple times now, and of course you're showing clips to kids, so I've seen all the possessions. I told the staff we're pretty darn close. We'll find a spell where it's a 2-minute segment that, for whatever reason, we show a lack of patience on offense or a lack of understanding of what shot we need to have, and we might have 1 or 2 defensive miscues. And it's not an effort thing; it's more of a repetitive and understanding the game type situation that we're trying to teach our young kids. That 74-58, that's not indicative of how close that game actually was. A couple possessions here, a couple possessions there. You hit a few more free throws at critical times. It's what I'm still, it's always going to be about us. We've got to get these kids to build confidence, and that comes in practice. And I know in the last 10 days, for whatever reason, our kids have been practicing much, much better. You show up in practices, you be more of an influence in practice, and that'll carry over to games.
Coach, to build off that, you guys were in some foul trouble. Very thin bench with Callie being out. You guys were within 10 points heading into the fourth quarter. Not a game that was out of hand at all. So in terms of teaching the kids the game and how to stay for all 4 quarters, what specifically have you done?
Well, let's take, for example, yesterday morning in practice, we do some things, try to simulate game situations. So we had various segments where we simulated the first 3 minutes of each quarter. So, we're coming off of a drill, we're coming off of whatever we want to teach, and then, I put 10 minutes on the clock, and we're coming out of halftime, we're coming off the bench, and we're simulating the first 3 minutes and establishing ourselves, reminding everybody who our identity is, and that first 3 minutes is critical. And I know that as I look back at the Central Oak game, the first few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes of the fourth quarter really stymied us. So a couple bad offensive possessions, didn't get quality looks, and didn't even get to the free throw line, and then conversely go to the defensive end and not do what we should. And unfortunately with young teams, when defense should set the tone, it seems to be if you miss a couple offensive shots with young teams, that affects your defense. So we're trying to get that turned around the other way.
All right, Coach, you guys will take on Missouri Southern on Thursday. 86-80 win here in Highland, the last meeting. You guys, past 2 games, have improved your 3-point shooting. You guys were shooting 33% in those 2 games combined. Free throws could shore that up a little bit, especially like we saw in a 6-point game in the last meeting. How are you guys going to shore up those things at the free throw line, 3-point percentage, field goal percentage? How are you going to make a complete game to get your second win against Missouri Southern?
Well, I think right now when you look at the stats and you watch any game film on us, I mean, people have to respect us at the front of the rim, whether it's dribble drives with some of our wings or the passes into the post. Even without Callie, Gabby, Cece, I believe Cece's really starting to put some practices together. We can get a few more consistent practices in with her. The kid's never really had a shot because of her injuries and stuff. She's basically in beginning of November form. So, we got that presence at the front of the rim. Now, if we can get some more consistent production on the perimeter, I think it loosens things up. When you're attacking the rim like we do and we can get to the foul line, you certainly got to capitalize on those opportunities. I put them in a situation this morning where, you had to make free throws and it was a pressure situation, and I'm excited as a coach because I'm going to be able to put them on the line. We're putting that kind of pressure on them, and I can't even run them because they're making all their free throws. So how do we take that from a practice out into a game? It's just repetition, repetition, repetition. Builds that confidence in practice, and it'll carry over to the game. I'm really excited because it's going to click at some point. When it does, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Coach, we've talked about the strength of this conference. You guys will play Pitt State, who is now ranked 5th in the nation. Does your team kind of see this as a challenge that you're constantly playing a strong team, or is it just building and just kind of frustrating for the girls?
Well, when you have a young team that we do, the one thing that a coach always has to keep in mind is morale. And our kids, They didn't know it until I brought it up to them this morning. We had a group of young ladies assemble in a house on Saturday night and was watching game film. I didn't tell them to do that. It's the character of kids we have. And, you know, we're constantly monitoring morale. We're trying to, you know, find ways to keep that enthusiasm up in practice. And they've done it on their own. I haven't had to even, you know, brainwash them to try to get that. And we don't talk about the strength of the conference. Everybody knows the conference is good. I mean, everybody in the country knows that. What we do is we're using each game as a gauge to check our improvement, to see where we're at, what we need to, you know, the next step we need to take. And we are getting better. It's just, so is everybody else. So we've got to worry about ourselves. We've got to find a way. I think great teams find a way to overcome adversity, to overcome injuries, and we're going to get there.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.